There we go. So I've got 2 plans for tonight. Plan number 1, get a nasty arm, I'm going to say nasty arm pump, get a nasty leg pump, kind of alternating style. I'm thinking leg curls, then quads, and curls, then RDL, or, back and forth between quads and hams, so that at the end of it, I can have fully pumped legs. And also, just dieting down in general, the pump itself is a bit more fleeting, and I've had zilch for carbs today. I think my macro count so far is like 150 grams of protein, 40 of carbs, and 30 of fats. Not much what you would kind of describe as fuel, all right, muscle, lifting wise. If I had 500 grams of carbs so far today, I think I would feel significantly different, right? Physically as well as, I guess subjectively as well as physically. Like, I'd be pumped out of my freaking mind to the point where I might even feel like my quads are going to get new stretch marks just from the glycemic effect of being full like that. But that's not for today. That's for months in the future. Shouldn't even think about it. And then after that, I'm going to make a grocery store stop. So that's going to be its own video. That's not going to be connected to this. But I've been, I guess I didn't think about it at first, but I'm not really getting as many groceries now that I'm dieting down. It's like if I got some canned meats, a bunch of frozen beef, steaks, ground beef, everything else, eggs, egg whites, you get the egg whites in cartons. Food just fucking lasts, when you're eating. I mean, honestly, right now I'm at like nearly a third of the caloric intake as I have been at like my peak consumption. So it's like I'm stretching 3 days of food into one, or 1 day of food into 3, which is kind of freaking wild. But either way, I wanted to kind of put my mind, or put myself into the mind of the leg day skipper, because it's a hard thing for me to wrap my mind around, because you're just like, I can't even do it. Like I can't even fucking describe what it would be like to be somebody who's fucking constantly skipping legs, because you really are just missing out, And I think it's one of the most abrupt, or least abrupt, muscles that you can change, because they're big, they take a while to train, the training itself is pretty fucking difficult, and it's not so cool, Like, I'm at a point now where I think a leg pump is fucking cool, but especially as a beginner, I mean, you're gonna be way more interested in like seeing a bicep pump at a shoulder day, and like being physically extra big in your torso. Like, that's usually what we think about. The support structure, right? Your trunks, not so much. So, I mean, I can wrap my head around it, right? If I actually try to look at it objectively, it's hard. You're huffing and puffing. If you push legs to failure, at least, or you at least like you're in that 90% intensity range on most of your sets, it's gonna take a lot out of you, and you're kind of wearing pants all the time anyway, So it's like they're not really out there to be seen. You gotta have some crazy ass leg genetics for somebody to say, "Holy crap, man, your legs are fucking huge," right? Usually it's always shoulders, back, chest, arms. They don't get as much love as they should. But if you do plan on getting into the working out for more than just a little while, which hopefully that's everybody, especially if you're watching this now, then dude, the leg training is where it's at. Because it's almost like I kind of feel like the fact that it's hard is where a lot of the value lies, because I've thought about trying to split up legs into 2-a-days, like hamstrings in the morning, like maybe don't do cardio on a leg day, or do cardio after hamstrings in the morning, and then save quads for it, at night. So I got 2 lifts, like I'm lifting the same amount of time for the day, but it's not so much all at once, Like doing an hour of cardio straight is a bit harder than doing 30-minute sessions of cardio spread apart, at least in terms of a execution style. But it just doesn't work, and I can't throw in hamstrings with back or arms, because then it just feels really out of place. The only muscle that it should, or at least for me, that I feel like it should be trained with is quads, right? They got to be paired up. And then, right, that's sort of the positive and the negative, because it's it'll take a little bit out of you. I've hemmed and hawed about trying to somehow figure out a way to make it easier, but there's no way to do it. right? It simply is what it is. But that's just the nature of it. And what I'm trying to get at is, like, when somebody asks me, like, what's my favorite muscle group to train, I would probably have to pick chest, just because at the end of it, I look probably the coolest, because I got a chest pump, sick. My arms are residually pumped from all the pressing and the bicep tension from doing flies. My shoulders are getting some activation just from, like, holding and stabilizing and everything else. So the end of a chest pump is almost like just a straight up torso pump, right? So it's extra cool there. And it's only one muscle group. It takes me like 30 minutes to do, you know. So it's like, it's short and sweet, short and basically extra sweet. And, you know, who doesn't like chest, right? But that doesn't take away from any other body part, because I still like arms. It's a little bit longer than chest because it's two muscle groups, but an arm pump, especially as I continue to get leaner, like, it almost, well, I'm not that lean yet, but when my arms are fully pumped and I'm extra lean and slim in the midsection, it's almost to the point where I, like, look at myself and I think, oh, my arms are too big right now relative to the rest of me. You know, and that's how a pump should be, right? You should be reaching into a like a temporary state of size where you're like, holy crap, I do not normally fucking look like this, you know. So chest is cool all around, very evenly distributed stats, but, you know, the stakes are low. You can kind of get a good chest pump wherever. If you just left me alone in a room with nothing, I could get a chest pump and do some push-ups. A bit harder to get like an arm pump in a room with nothing around you. But arms is in a pretty similar state with chest, and honestly, so is back. And then shoulders too. It's right. There's almost nothing to it. At least for me now, because they're so big and developed. Like, I just have to hit them every so often. That's the end of it. But legs, the cool part is half in doing it and half in having done it, right? Because it's like what gives things value. Typically, scarcity. So, how many people actually hit legs extra fucking hard? And if you've got at least a little hint of a chip on your shoulder as a lifter, then doing things that not a lot of other people are willing to do is cool. That is the flex for you yourself, because you get to think, like, you know, I'm fucking dying, right? You just re-rack a hopefully like a 5-plate squat for 10. You're like, holy crap. Like, physically, it's an uncomfortable sensation. You're damn near like out of breath, exhausted. Your quads are, your central nervous system is going nuts. Like, it's just simply hard. If it were up to your body, it would tell you, don't do this shit. Go relax. But, you know, it's the fact that your mind can say, like, yeah, nobody else is willing to do this. And then, you know, you get that kind of like, I don't want to say masochistic, but there's probably a little bit of overlap there with knowing, oh, okay, that was hard. I went hard. Now I'm done. Then you get to sit in the car, scroll some Instagram reels for a couple of minutes, and drive off into the sunset. Or, given the, man, I am still not used to it being pitch black at 6 o'clock at night. It's freaking messing with my mind. But you get to ride off into the night knowing you killed it. And then after a while, your legs are going to show it, right? You're going to start seeing separation between teardrop and like that lateral head and or not lateral head, what would you call it? Lateral insertion, or like the outside sweep of your quad, and then you can see that little like medial femoralis, something or other like that, you know. But it does take a while, and that's you know, that's something where I can't pinpoint exactly like what sort of tip I could say about it. But, you know, if you look at anybody who's got something you want, or if you're looking at anybody who is somewhere you want to be, then I'd say overarching traits is they did that thing, or they practiced that thing every day, or at least very consistently, you know, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, for years on end. So, you know, the main difference between you and them, apart from fucking time, is that, you know, they're doing this shit on the regular. They're clocking in hours. And ideally, it won't even feel like work because you enjoy it. Especially these lifts. Like, I don't come to the gym and think, yeah, I'm putting in that work today. It's like, I want bigger legs. I like training. everything's just kind of hitting me right, But looking at it kind of long term, guys who get shit done simply take small steps every day indefinitely. I'm getting close to, I think, like 2,200 lifts in a row or so. Like the macro tracker on my phone, it's got 1,270 days tracked. Like, you can't just fast forward that process, but you can hop onto the train, and then, right, you'll be on track. I didn't, I guess you'd physically be on track there, But it's, so that's where it's not necessarily an awesome idea, I feel, to try to compare yourself with anybody who's like crazy ahead of the game in terms of whatever results you're aiming for, because they've been doing it for 5 more years than you. That's like trying to, that's like asking if, now I'm totally losing my train of thought. Well, who's going to be smarter, right? A 5th grader or the fucking 12th grader, right? Or the guy who's like a senior in college. And don't bring up, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Those are just random geographic like questionnaires. That's not real like knowledge, So it's simply a waiting game. And anybody who is comfortable with cardio on the regular, lifting on the regular, calorie counting and either restriction or like making sure you hit specific goals on the regular, then they're on track and they know it. So what's extra cool is once you get that support structure in place, you're no longer thinking, okay, will I be able to make these gains? Will I be able to reach the goals that I'm aiming for? Like, if somebody can stick to a calorie deficit, work out, do their cardio on the regular, get good amount of sleep, stay hydrated, and not let anything mess up their routine, then it's not a question of if, it's simply a question of when. And that's what I like the most about the working out, because you can get a pretty damn serious amount of control over the back end, because it's all you. It's completely individual. Nobody's gonna push you into it. Nobody's gonna really stop you from doing it, at least as long as you don't let them. If you're living in a household that isn't really lifter friendly, like everybody's eating, not to sugarcoat it, just like trash, nobody works out, it can be kind of hard to break away from that pattern. So if that's you, I commend you for getting after it. But it's simply a question of how long are you going to stick with it, and then you almost get to think, all right, is this something I really want to do? Not something like, do I really want to see if I can do it? It's like, all right, I know I can do it. Should I or should I not? You're sitting at the damn menu of some kind of restaurant. It's not like, will I be able to, if I order the steak, will they even be able to make it? It's like, no, they'll do it. You'll be able to make this kind of shit happen. But it's simply, now I'm just going around in circles saying the same shit over and over again. I'll finish it with this. We all know it, right? What's going to happen if you take a guy who's never worked out before, and then over the course of 3 years, he worked out near every day, let's just say 6 days a week with a rest day, did his cardio, learned about tracking macros? What do you think is going to happen? I can predict it pretty easily, and I think you can too, to the point where I think it's not even worth saying. It goes without saying. But let's stop chatting and go make this leg day get started. Let's get real with a controlled squeezing set of seated curls, and then we can go from there. Okay. Holy crap. One more like that. When I was warming up, I was getting ready to do the full stack. And even just doing 250 is a bit much. 235 is the sweet spot number for these. Okay. Okay, my God. All right. Let's move on to leg extensions and then keep this back and forth going. So with these leg extensions, I have two goals in mind. Start getting myself pumped. Obviously, that's basically a goal every set. But secondary to that, or maybe probably balanced in like value, is I want to prime my quads for what's next. I'm honestly starting to get a little itch for some barbell squats. Not like heaviest I've ever done, but maybe a little bit lighter. I'll see if I end up following through with that or if I think it might be a bad move. But either way, with these leg extensions, I'm going to go for a little bit of a back and forth. Probably 10 rep, 10 rep, 10 rep, 10 rep, and then burn out with 5 reps alternating. I just seem to, I like it and I can go harder doing it. Like if I were to sit here and try to do a full straight set to failure, it's almost like I can't go as hard as I can when I give them a little bit of rest pause action. You know, I like saying it like this: a straight set, this is fresh, this is fatigued. You basically shoot straight towards fatigued linearly, but doing these sort of pause rep styles or like alternating kind of rest pause set, it's like the left leg's getting fatigued, then it gets a little bit of rest. It gets fatigued, then a little bit of rest, you know? So something about it just works for me. And as a starter set, absolutely perfect. So let's just make this shit happen. Oh my gosh. All right. One more just like that. Okay. Okay. Oh. This little block is perfectly placed for some self-assistance. Now, I don't need help on the way down, but helping myself get the weight up and letting go and riding the force, that's solid. So let's just take one step to the right, get some lane curls going before the next set of pressing. Now these will be similarly executed as the seated curls earlier, but even a little bit lighter. So I really want this squeeze to burn. Oh, yeah. Oh, one more, same weight. Oh my gosh. Woo. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go press something. Only 4 plates, but I want the set to be nuts. Okay. That was good. One more like that. Oh, goodness. Oh my God. Fuck. Oh. 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 That was good. Let's go back to hamstring curls.
Let's get some RDL action going here. I'm talking hip hinging, hamstring activating, and I guess those are the main two fucking things. Okay. Ooh. Started using a little too much lower back and glutes. Let's switch the plate for a 25. Do one more. Whew. Man, this fucking squat took more out of me than I expected. Okay. Holy crap. Yeah. Hamstrings are freaking done. I think let's finish with some leg extensions. Maybe some leg press superset in TBD. But quads are, well, not quads, but legs are coming along well tonight. Same exact style as right in the beginning. Some alternating 5-rep sets. First set will be heavy. The next one might be a little lighter. We'll just have to see. Okay. Oh. All right. This next set has a strong potential to be it. This one will be a little bit different in execution. Instead of just throwing the shit around, which is definitely wrecking my quads, slow second-ish hold at the top, and then down. So even though the reps are slower, the amount of fatigue I'll feel from each rep is more. So my fatigue rate will be a little faster, at least on a rep by rep basis. Because if I just sat here and tried to sling reps around, you'd probably do like, I don't know, 30 in a row or something. But if I do them extra slow and have a good squeeze on top, I'm fucking accruing damage faster. But let's make this shit happen. All right. Okay. Oh my gosh. Time for a fucking pose down. Or a freaking pose down, I mean. Alright, frame-wise, should be just about freaking good. And those squats hit me extra hard. I'm sure if you were looking closely, you will have noticed that that second set actually had a little bit more oomph behind it. The whatever song I was listening to at the time was really getting me going fucking nuts. So right when I got onto the bar, it was giving me that give me that classic squat sensation, which honestly I don't get from any other movement. Like, I've done crazy heavy bench, I've done like some pretty insane sets of rows and like super whatever, but I guess maybe if I did heavy deadlifts, I might get the same sensation. But there's nothing that gives me that same like anxiousness, heart pumping excitement as a barbell squat. Smith squat just doesn't do it, and maybe it's something about the danger factor, because you're never really going to hurt yourself doing Smith squats unless you really, well, just screw it up, right? But let's stop chatting and just actually see how legs are looking. Oh my goodness. Reasonable amount of separation. Oh, so that's what I'm really aiming for. I want the back of my hamstring to really round itself over like that. I'm getting better at posing it. So by smushing my leg into itself, I'm kind of making it appear larger. But half of that is also just get bigger hamstrings, right? Because there's almost a certain roundness over the backside as well as the front with the quads. Oh my goodness. But I'm really feeling the deficit now. Holy crap. Let's save the rest of this post-lift discussion for the car and get out of here.
Okay, that should all be working just about right now. So that was a good one. That was quite, yeah. Those barbell squats are fucking sweet. I can't believe there was a time when I did not even, well, it took me a little while to get into it. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and try to say like, yeah, you're not doing legs, you're not doing like multiple sets of barbell squats in your leg days? Really? Are you kidding me? Like, no, I'm not gonna sit here and say that. Nor do I think should I, right? Squats are kind of tricky to get into. You know, it's not just like, all right, grab the bar, do it. There's most certainly a learning curve, which is to be expected, right? I mean, they're tricky. You got a lot of shit going on. You know, the amount of like moving parts of a leg press, not that many. You know, try not to roll your back and have a good brace, but that's it. All you do is bend your legs and then straighten them. Whereas with a squat, dude, you got to keep your balance. You got the weight loaded at basically the highest position possible on your body, and then when you go to you know, actually load it, you're as wobbly as you can fucking be. The only way you could get wobblier would be if you were doing like overhead squats where you're holding the bar like an Olympic lifter, which is, I mean, that's like totally its own freaking thing. But you're as wobbly as you can be. You got to use your lower back. You got to take good breaths and brace. You got to be, you know, keep your, what do they call it? Keep your girdle strong so you don't just immediately crumple yourself. I mean, we've all seen the squat fails. The squat fails. Frankly, they kind of get my stomach churning. Like, I don't even want to watch those videos when I see them, because it's like, man, yeesh, you know, like if you ever see somebody squatting without safeties, that is not something to be emulated. I can't stress that freaking enough. But it's tricky. It takes a while to get into, right? So in no way am I trying to say, like, you don't barbell squat, loser. No. But I do think there is a crazy value to the barbell squat. And half of it is because of how much activation you get from it. Because, like, yes, there is obviously value to, okay, I'm doing bodybuilding style training. I should be much more isolated with my movements. Leg extensions, leg press. I'm not using a lot of other stuff. You know, I literally stopped a few of those sets of RDLs because I started to use my glutes and my lower back too much. So yeah, I mean, usually it's okay, I have a targeted muscle, I only want to hit that muscle and minimize all other activation. But there is something about the overarching load of the squat and the fact that you are, I mean, basically built for it in a sense. You know, your legs are meant to keep your body moving around. If you want to bend down and let's go back old school, you're pillaging, right? You're foraging, whatever else. You got to jump to do whatever. Like, that's what your legs are meant to do, man. So loading them in that way, shit, man. You know, I didn't expect to be saying this. Very primal training, right? I'm talking maybe not exactly Liver King style, but it's kind of what your legs were meant to do, right? I mean, all or at least most movements you can kind of relate back to just, you know, you're meant to push shit. You're meant to pick shit up and pull it. Or you're meant to, you know, like, it's just what you're made for, right? It's very rare in nature, I guess, that you'd be sitting on a leg extension machine doing burnout reps. But apart from that approach, with some guys really get into that a lot, and they're like, only functional movements only. I don't necessarily subscribe to that ideology so much. But all I'm trying to get at is the squat is like, I mean, it's the bench press for your legs. You know, there is something about it. And again, I think it's half of what I was saying earlier about, like, the value of things is often correlated with its scarcity. Very rare you see anybody squatting heavy, you know, because it takes a while to reach a point where you can squat heavy. There was the guy next to me, I didn't want to just like clip him or anything, but he was doing, I think, like some 4-plate front squats. Or not even, I think, he was doing some 4-plate front squats, 4 reps. He was freaking showing me up. I'm doing back squats, you know, I'm doing the easier version. But all that's to say is there's something about the squats that just can't be emulated, you know, and be it like emotional, be it the fact that you really use your entire, like, you get your whole central nervous system firing because it's such a, like, I mean, I'm sending signals to my entire body during that set of squats, which, good or bad thing, like if you put little probes on my forearms, on my biceps, on my triceps, on my chest, my lats, my lower back, and my abs, and everything, because you got to stay, you know, pretty tight so you don't hurt yourself. It's just an awesome movement, you know. Now, is it the best for quad growth? What does that question even mean? You know, obviously I'm still going to do leg extensions. I'm still going to do leg press. But the barbell squat, there is something to it which cannot be emulated. Even by Smith machine squats. You know, Smith machine squats are close. They're not bad. I do like them. And the stability that they provide is very nice for getting into the squat and sort of learning it. But I think reaching a point where you can barbell squat consistently is something to strive for. And by barbell squat consistently, I mean, you know, do legit working sets on the regular and not hurt yourself every time. So another way to look at that statement is don't try to max out every leg day with an insane amount of weight and get crumpled. Right? I've had to do that before. I mean, I didn't have to, but I did anyway. Where a guy was like, you know, Sam, I'm going for a PR. You want to come help spot me? You know, and we got 3 dudes spotting this dude who's doing way too much weight, like 5 plates too much weight. And let's just say, if I were a betting man, right, if that rep was something you could look at on sports books, yeah, I think I would stack it against his favor, unfortunately. Instantly got smushed. At least we had the safeties on, like, you know, 1.5 foot level height. But if you push yourself to a point where you're doing a hard set of squats, you know, 10 reps, 8 reps minimum, and you know, you're at a reasonable weight, let's say, I mean, I don't remember what weight I started with my squats. I guess I'm glad I don't have it on video. But when I started working out, I mean, I'm talking back sophomore or I guess the summer after my sophomore year of high school, that's when I had my dad buy me these weight stands to put in the basement, because we already had a barbell and plates and dumbbells and a bench, like an adjustable bench, just from my dad had them, but we didn't have a rack or anything. So we got these $100 weight stands. Super fucking dangerous. If you're gonna get like a rack for the house, get a full-on like caged rack with safety bars, because I mean there's some pretty tragic incidents that happen with an unsafe setup for bench and squat in an unsupervised environment. But what I'm trying to get at is, like I could do maybe a plate, and I think I tried to do maybe 200 pounds untrained. Like, this is me just trying to mess around and do some 1 rep maxes in the basement at 16. And if it wasn't for the safeties that were like 1.5 feet off the ground, so it like barely caught the bar before it smushed me, I don't know what could have happened there. But obviously you got to start somewhere. So even if your starting weight for a set of 10 of squats is a plate, that's badass, because 2 weeks later, get yourself excited, make sure you're well rested, try a plate and a 10. 2 weeks later, try a plate and then even 15 extra on the side. And then before you know it, plate and a 25, plate and a 35, 2 plates and a 10, 2 plates and a 10 and 20. And you just move your way up from there. Now, there's slow improvements, but there are improvements nonetheless. Like the heaviest that I've ever squatted is not necessarily because I was stronger, or definitely not because I was bigger. It's when I could just squat consistently without hurting myself, right? If every squat session that I had, I could come in and push myself to the max, finish a hard set of squats, come back home, recover, and then come back for the next leg day, whatever that was scheduled, add a 10, add a 5, add a 25 if I'm feeling really crazy that day. And shit, man, before you know it, you're gonna be hitting PRs reasonably regularly. Now, it might just be, 1 extra rep without weight. Like, let's say you're repping 315 for 10, you're really getting yourself excited. I want 11. I freaking want 11 today. Come on. You get your song playing, you hit 13. Boom. You've literally broken into new ground. And looking back, I remember when I first benched 315. I remember when I first did I did 450 once at my college gym. That was and my butt came off the bench too, so that was kind of a scrappy rep. I wouldn't really count it. But like, those 1 rep maxes I've done did not even give me as much enjoyment as like 10 rep maxes or new rep PRs with certain weights. Like, frankly, I think the 1 rep max is fucking overrated. Now, if you're a power lifter, different story, that's your thing. But for the general lifter, dude, I'm thinking, like, I want the 10 rep PR to be a new ballpark, or to be a new, what's the word I'm thinking? To be a new staple representation of strength, right? Like 275 for 1, whatever. 225 for 10, or 250 for 10. That is a real ass number. And then you're not going to hurt yourself, because you're not overloading your body with so much weight that you never ever do in your daily life. And it's actually a good set. Like, anytime somebody 1 rep maxes in a workout, like, okay, I'm going to do quads today, but I want to start with a 1 rep max of squats. Like, all that work that you did to do that 1 rep max, I don't think much of that was really effective working sets. Now, if you said, okay, today for quads, I want to do a 10 rep max. I want to pick a weight I've never done for 10 before, even if it's only 5 pounds above what you've ever done, previously. Then that set, that PR that you just hit, actually did have some stimulating value, right? So that's my little message here. I want the 10 rep PR to be the new goal. That would be pretty freaking cool. But either way, solid leg day. Those barbell squats are really getting me excited. Those are gonna stay. I just have to try my best not to go too heavy right now, because obviously dieting down, I don't have the same recoverability as I would fully bulked. Plus, if I tweak my quad right now, that's just because I'm being stupid and I go too heavy. So I think 4 plates felt pretty much within reason. Not too heavy, but heavy enough where it was still a heavy set. So now I get to go home feeling like I did it. Like I was saying in the car, You know, those sets of squats were hard. Like, I sat down, I had to huff and puff for a minute, get my, recenter myself. But in doing so, I'm like, holy crap, that was fucking hard. All right, get up, do it again. You know, like, that's the fun part. And for the uninitiated, for the non-lifter, they don't see the appeal. They don't get it. And I don't blame them. Because from an outside perspective, what? I couldn't even imagine what somebody who doesn't work out thinks about somebody who, like, squats like that for fun. Or for, for their own enjoyment. But we know, right? We understand the freaking value. So I'm going to make sure I get a good night's rest, not overshoot my calorie limit, which is really my primary goal of right now. And then get ready for a solid chest day tomorrow. Which I think I'm going to get some dumbbell bench going. But I'm headed to the store. So I guess you wouldn't be watching it tomorrow, because for you it would be today. But either way, that'll be a double upload. So a little grocery haul should be the video either right before or right after this in the queue. I gotta organize all these into playlists. I'll try to do that tomorrow too. But either way, I will see you in the freaking grocery cart.